Welcome to another episode of Make Mental Health Matter, where I talk to guests who are really sharing their warrior story, especially on this Warrior Wednesday themed episode. And ultimately, what I try to do is bring people's stories who have lived experience through mental health challenges, substance abuse. It could be cancer, it could be any other type of thing, trauma, all of those that they have really lived through in life and are really in this place of hope. Ultimately, it is to give you the chance to identify within their story something that might be within you or maybe somebody you know, and really know that you're really truly not alone in this thing that we call life. And all of us go through these experiences, and we can get to that place of hope. So if this is your first time watching, please make sure that you mash down that subscribe button if you happen to be watching on YouTube. If you are watching on any of the TV streaming platforms like E360, Roku, Apple, Fire, Amazon, whatever it is, add this into your watch list, your wish list, your gonna watch list, whatever they might call that, so that you don't miss another episode. Because I say this every single week, but I promise you, all of my guests, their stories are so exceptional. And I just found out that we have a very long watch time with our audience, which I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, really paying attention and listening and hearing these stories and sharing them with whomever might need to hear them. So without further ado, I am going to bring up my guest for this evening. William, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate the opportunity. It's going to be a great conversation tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell the audience a little bit about your story and your journey.
Well, it's kind of neat. I'm on Warrior Wednesday. In high school, we were the Warriors. And so shout out to Dillon High School and the folks that are out there tonight. So my name is William. I am 58. I'm a retired teacher and a principal from Northern California, up in the very top little town called Crescent City. You may have known it for the Smith River, the Redwoods, or even the Pelican Bay State Prison, whatever you know Crescent City from. But I was born and raised there, and I spent 30 years in education as a teacher, a principal. And I recently released a book about 2 years ago called The Invisible Backpack. I live with Tourette's and I live with bipolar, and going through life a little different has been a challenge for me. And my opportunities are endless now. I have a chance to share a story, which I'm going to share with you tonight, about perseverance, about how to overcome life's adversities, life's judgments, life's challenges, and come out the other side. You talk about many things in life, how we overcome things. And one of my favorite people is Sigmund Freud, and he always talked about love and hard work being the overcome. And people ask me, how do I get through life? How have I overcome the desire to hurt myself, to take myself, to the things that come in life? And I always go back to self-love. So I've got that point. Living with the condition of Tourette's and then now being bipolar has a lot of judgment in it. We live in a world of people that, they look at you a little different. You move differently, you act differently, you talk differently, sometimes behave differently. Does that make you crazy? Does that make you not one to approach? No, it makes me me. That's where I get to share the story. I have overcome many obstacles, many challenges, and right or wrong. I made many mistakes in my life. I've also been accused of things that I shouldn't have been accused of. But that's not why we're here tonight. We're here to share a story, and maybe an audience, a member out there has somebody in their life that needs to hear somebody else saying, it's okay. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay to overcome things. It's okay to be different. I went through school differently. I couldn't read or write very well. I got a master's degree because I did it differently. I had a way of finding a different way. I looked inside myself and what can I do different? How can I get through this thing called life? And I have a lot of things to share. And the story is in the book, The Invisible Backpack. I had to bring it here, and it's out there everywhere. I have an amazing publisher, and the story gets to be told even more. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I got here on March 18th to share a story. My book got me here, and I'm going to speak to children. I'm going to speak to schools when I can, and get out there and let them know that it's okay to try things differently. It's okay if you don't know how to read. It's okay if you don't know how to write. There's other ways to get through life. And it's not hurting ourselves. It's finding somebody or something to believe in. And a lot of times it comes right down to us. Believe in ourselves. Self-love and self-respect is the key to my success right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing all of that also. And I just think that there's so much that so many questions that came to my mind really as you were talking. And I am curious, so the Tourette's, were you diagnosed at a young age, or when were you diagnosed with that?
Well, Kelly, I grew up I was born in 65, and through the 70s, Tourette's wasn't on the cards. I was 35 years old when I was diagnosed. And then medications came. And what if the fiasco that was for me? Maybe other people were okay with it because it brought me to a level they were comfortable with, but it was miserable for my life. So yeah, 35 years old, I went through life differently. I was the proverbial little Billy. Everyone wants to meet little Billy. That was me. I was the one that was in the office, and I was the one who couldn't do things. And I was very rambunctious, very outgoing kid. And, but yeah. And so, as I look at, as an educator, I got to share with parents and share, hey, opportunity to find out more about your child at a younger age. Not that there's anything that we're going to do differently. We're going to find a way for them to be successful. So I think that's the success for me is going through it and then being diagnosed. And I was 54 when I found out I was bipolar as well too. So it's been an adult thing for me.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's really amazing also that you were in education. You found this alternative way to go through school, not being able to read and write like everybody else, and still getting your master's degree.
Are you there, Kelly?
And still, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. We're buffering a little bit. That's okay.
Oh, no worries. I just think it is amazing that you were, able to go through school and get your master's, and it was an alternative way for you. And I think that's really important, and how you brought it into education as a principal. That's so important.
Yeah, the teachers are sitting out there tonight. Anyone that knows me, I didn't have academic meetings with my staff as a principal. I didn't tell them how to teach academics. I created a safe environment. Knew every kid's name, knew what they needed. How can we make this environment safe for those kids? Make it a place they want to be. Get rid of the fighting, get rid of the bullying, and so we created an environment for kids. And it goes back to what I needed as a kid. I couldn't do the academics. My GPA in college was 2.01. That's called barely cum laude. So I got through it, but it was a different way for me. I think I created 504s. I think in college I had professors ask me who wrote this, and I said I did. They said, "What are you doing here?" Because they couldn't. It was not legible. It wasn't punctuated properly, and it didn't have the fit for the mold. So going through life, that's what I get to share with these kids and the people out there today. Is that it's okay. It's okay that you can't do it the best. I couldn't do certain things well, and I can do others extremely well. And that's where we find our strengths, and now we persevere and how we move forward with life. So, find it within yourself to that one key. What is it? Mine happened to be rhythmical writing. I have a book now. Highly unlikely that I'm an author, but it's true. And now they call me a poet, but I think it's more of a man who expressed himself the way he could and shared a thought. And those thoughts have now become a bigger thought, and now the opportunity to share the bigger thoughts there. So.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's incredible that you have, gone through this journey, right? Like through life is, back in the day, Tourette's wasn't exactly one of those things that they diagnosed, and they didn't really know much about it. I think still to today, there is still a lot of unknown around Tourette's, and how the brain is affected. But of course, now we have more technology, which is helpful. And then going into bipolar, which I do know is a tougher diagnosis per se, because it's a lot of symptoms and signs and all those things combined together. So it's not just depression, it's not just anxiety, it's not just, right? It's a whole bunch of things all together. And so it does tend to be a later life diagnosis. But I mean, yours was much later in life, and then adding those in together. And so I'm curious, like, as you went along this journey of getting in trouble back in the day, but then you found this way that you could really go through life and be in school, end up getting your master's degree, and then actually going into education yourself and really creating the safe space, which I think is incredible for all the students, all the teachers, and everybody to have equality in learning, really. How has that really transformed and shaped your life as you move through into even writing a book?
Yeah, that was, I did an interview with a lady called the Bipolar Band. It's a similar question, and it's an easy answer. What I found was sharing a thought. I carry a backpack, and if you take one thing out of our backpack, if you don't like it, we can crawl back in. But we can't get to two until we do one. And so I've been able to empty mine out more and more. I'm still a bit in trouble. I do things that don't make sense to people, and even sometimes myself with these conditions. But I explain Tourette's as a neurological condition and bipolar as an environmental one. So we have a neurological birth that Tourette's goes back to the 14th century to King William. We can trace it many ways. Bipolar, we're finding out to be environmentally caused by the traumas we go through life. And so I've been able to take my trauma in the last 4 or 5 years, write about it, put it out there, and now have the strength to get out and speak about it and share about it. When I say strength, I put myself out here. When you write a book like this and you put your whole life out there, you're pretty vulnerable. And so I have to accept the vulnerability of the things that I have created and the negativity I've created because of the conditions, and then find a way to make those right and move forward. So I think we all have to take a look at ourselves, what we have done and how we're doing it. But we don't live in our past, we live with it. We have to get out of living in it, because the things we have done are done, but the things we can do are endless. And so I take all that together and say, as an educator, as a first grade teacher, I taught first grade because it's the grade I could teach academically. And then as a principal, elementary and middle, I found an opportunity for every child to have success. And my mantra in my schools was the place to be. And we and our staffs created an opportunity for every child to learn. And then we had to find how they learn. Once we find our learning styles and we have an environment, then we can create learners, lifelong learners. Until then, we're a CAM program or sit down, shut up, and read. They don't work. They didn't work for me, and they don't work for many people. Our educational system is for the top 10%. The other 90% don't like sitting in the chair. Like I don't either. So I took all those things into play, and I started thinking about it and doing it. And I had an opportunity to get into being a principal, and it suited me well. It wasn't the ideal one. I didn't have the skill set of writing and all that, but I can speak and talk and share and love people. And so I think that's a part of my life, and a part of being Tourette is love and patience. And so I've learned both. And you have to learn patience with yourself when you have Tourette syndrome. Otherwise, people are going to have a hard time, because it's an overpowering condition for people. So I have many stories about that, but there's some fun ones, but that's for another time. But it's how people react to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I am curious, and I would love, this is why I do my show, is to really open up this conversation that nobody else wants to have, right? Or that people want to have, but they're not exactly sure how to have it. So can you tell me just a little bit more, for those people that are maybe not familiar with Tourette syndrome and or bipolar disorder, what is it about I like to call them challenges. I don't like to call them diagnosis or disease or any of those. It's really a challenge. And how do you, give me a little bit more information about it, just for anybody that might be curious about both or one.
Well, I have living with Tourette syndrome, I have a little different take than maybe the medical diagnosis or profession would be. So I'm going to go on what I know and what I live with. There's a lot of support out for Tourette syndrome, first of all. The Tourette Association of America, there's chapters all over the country. People are starting to understand that it's a neurological condition, that the brain works so fast and does things that the normal brain doesn't do. There's a brain study done on me back in 2015. A doctor over in Medford, Oregon, myself, and there was an actor at the Ashland Shakespeare Festival. And we had Tourette's, and we had some similarities. We don't know each other, but we did a study about the brain and how it works. And what they're finding is a large explosive. They're finding the firing power of the brain much faster and quicker, and the IQ extremely high. But the offset is the understanding of simple, basic things like linear things or things that happen that aren't systematic, like the English language. I mean, what's a comma really for? How does it work? And so my mind doesn't think that way. Bipolar has been, in the last 5 years, a lot of trauma in my life. A lot of things happened, and I didn't handle it well. But when you get down that rabbit hole and you start having to look up at things, and you can't find your way out of the trouble, and you can't find your way out of the situation, and you're scared, it becomes build upon it. I mean, like you yell, and then when it hears you, so you yell louder, and then all of a sudden you're ostracized. You're out there because you're yelling and screaming, but no one knows what the pain you're going through inside your head. And so I with the combination of the two, I'm not finding medication works. I'm actually using vitamin D, and I'm using a lot of food for my support now. And I'm finding as I talk to people how that happens for me. Kind of a random explanation, but it's kind of hard to tell the two together without kind of being together. But Tourette's, there's a lot of spectrum of Tourette Syndrome, ADHD, and OCD-like symptoms, and they've taken that into a spectrum as similar as autism did back when they ran it into a spectrum or whatever it is. So we're learning more about it, and I'm learning that living with it is becoming a little easier as I speak and share and get out there and accept myself as I'm meant to be. The back of my book, it says, it's how accepting myself as I'm meant to be. And once we accept ourselves, whatever the label we're given, it's a much easier opportunity to move forward in life. And so the label isn't so much important to me as the people around me. Surround myself with great people. I've reconnected with many over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm using social media. And I reconnect with kids and parents and teachers and friends all over the country. And hopefully they're tuning in tonight saying hello. But you never know when you leave a situation how it's going to come back to you. And Tourette's tend to fixate, and we tend to do things and over that people don't understand, and all we really want was an answer. But inside our minds, it's a little crazy sometimes. So not insane, not over and over the same different results, but it gets a little crazy up there sometimes.
Yeah.
And then those who have it and know what I'm talking about, the people who have Tourette's or bipolar, they understand. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. And so how can we share with young people or people of 58 how to overcome that and love yourself and accept yourself as who you are? And I've got there, and my goal for the next 30 years is to teach. I left 8,000 people. Now I have 8 billion to share it with. And I hope that we get the message out that it's okay. It's okay to be you, and okay to have this condition, and it's nothing wrong with it. It's what it is, as anything else is on earth.
Yeah. And I love, so that question was not formulated very well, but I like how you said live with, so because you do, like, it's your experience and you live with Tourette's and also bipolar. And I think that's an important part too, is it doesn't necessarily have to be like this thing that you're diagnosed with, right? It's your experience and what you've been through, and also what you live with, and how do you fully just love yourself versus trying to, some people, when they get a diagnosis or they are going through a life experience, they kind of attach to those things as it's like their identity, or it's like they try to push it away as much as they can. But I like what you were saying, is that how do we shift that energy and really start to love ourselves for who we are, no matter what we're experiencing. And I think that was really
amazing. Somebody posted today on Facebook, you only live once. And on the back of it said pessimist. On the optimist, it said, no, you only die once. You live every day. We have to have that mindset. It's a mindset. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I want their mindset to say, wait, I get one chance today to live. How do I choose to live that life today? I've made some bad choices and I'm not perfect. But now that I'm to the point of saying I have self-love, my choices are better. My days are better. My experiences are better. And that gives me a chance to share with you and the folks tonight by making the right choices. And that's kind of what it comes down to. We can make whatever choice we choose when we hit the floor in the morning. It can be a good choice or a bad choice. And I just think that was a great quote that said, we only live once. No, we live every day. We die once. So keep it going and keep that momentum going for yourself.
I love that.
You surround yourself with good people too. My father said, if I die with 5 true friends, I'm a lucky man. I'm pretty close to knowing who those 5 are, and I'm 58. So kids, or young adults out there watching, you may know, but it may not be. It's okay. It's okay to have experiences in life, to try things new. And my mantra is acceptance, patience, tolerance, and love with grace, and something new every day. So I put that out a lot for people. What are you doing new today? If you're on the same routine, it may not be working for you. So
yeah, I love that. And so we're going to actually go for a quick sponsored break. But then when we come back, I just want to talk a little bit more and maybe hone in on if you have any certain tools or tips or tricks that you might want to give the audience. But we'll talk about that when we get back from this sponsored break.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy.
And I'm Minna.
We're the hosts of Chronically Healthy Life.
Join us Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time on Vitality TV to see how we flip the idea of chronic on its head and create chronic health in our bodies, minds, finances, and relationships right here on E360 TV.
And like that, we're back. All right. If you are just joining us for the Make Mental Health Matter Warrior Wednesday theme, I am talking to my incredible guest, William, really about his experience and journey of living with Tourette Syndrome and being later in life diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And we really started talking about this journey from even when you were younger. And, back in the day, we didn't know, or the medical field didn't quite know what Tourette's was. Also, bipolar disorder is one of those disorders that tend to be diagnosed a little bit later in life versus really, really young, just because it has so many components that are included with it. So sometimes it's a little bit harder diagnosis. What I love that we were also talking about is the self-love. How do you really transform your life to love yourself for who you are and not try to live in the past? Or we all go through experiences, things that we do, maybe we don't like them, but how do we really love ourselves and move forward into life? And lastly, talking about your book that you wrote, The Invisible Backpack. So what I would love to talk about now is if you have any maybe tools or information that you want to really give to the audience for them to maybe understand whatever pops into your head.
Yeah, tools and tricks. Everyone needs to find something about themselves that they love is unique. It's just one thing. We don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't have to jump completely in the pool. This isn't a dunking contest. It's a life contest, and life comes at you many ways. So I always say, take one thing out. Find one. For me, I love to cook. My therapist is the kitchen. That's where I do my work. I mean, I love to write and I love to speak, but preparing food is a therapy for me. I found that nourishing myself and loving good food is amazing. You go through life and your challenges and you find your way. Writing is also important to me. I also give many people the opportunity and say to them, what are you doing today to relieve some of your stress? What are you doing today to take care of you? If it's get out of bed differently, maybe not have the cup of coffee. Maybe it's a a walk. Maybe it's a ride. Maybe it's something that is unique to you. Try that one thing new each day. I tell my mom, my father passed about 3 years ago on July 2nd. We talk a little bit about the things that, you go through. And, she's getting to the point now where she can go and see her friends and do things. But, that's 3 years of her life she can't have back. And, when we get into that depressive state, it's hard to get out of there. We get in that rabbit hole, and it's a tough one. So some of the things I do, I walk a lot. I'm very active. I stay active. I'm recently enjoying anime. My partner over here, she's amazing, and Tina has shown me a new way of looking at different things. And so trying something new, finding something in your life is important. It's not always impressing somebody. It's finding what's important to you and finding what works for you. We always like to say, is everything okay with you? But is everything okay with me first before I can get to you? No, we can't have a relationship and we can't have self-love. And I keep going back to that word, but it's got me in the last 4 years really focused, and it has a lot to do with my successes and being in front of us today. I had to find a way to get through those hard times, the family, the things that we lost, all those things that we lose. And you said earlier, going back and living with it, that's fine. We don't have to live in it. We can live with our past and be proud of the things we have accomplished. Sometimes you forget, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I forget I had 30 years in the classroom and in the school with kids. And reconnecting with these young folks and these adults with kids now, it's fun and exciting. And they come back to you and share that with you. So I don't have the golden ticket. This is not, and I don't have a crystal ball, but I also have experience enough to say, try something new. You're the only one stopping yourself. We are our own worst enemy, and fear is it. Sometimes we're scared of it, and that's okay. If you're not scared of it, my dad always said, don't get comfortable, listen with yourself. So if you're not comfortable with it, it's okay. But it'll become comfortable if you like it, enjoy it, and it's a success for you. What works for you, That would be my tip, I guess, or tips for doing it. I have a lot of idols in my life. I have people I look up to. I carry this with me. Robin Williams is, here, my book's dedicated to, man. I carry his life with me, and I look at it, and I cherish the way he did things. He never had a script once in his life. And I actually wrote to him, I'm sharing in a minute, the rhythmical I wrote to Robin Williams, and why I wrote it. But, you take the individual of him and take a little bit of it away, and where's your individualism? What can you find in somebody else that's going to give you an individualistic way of life? And he's the one for me. And according to us, also a couple of teachers of mine, I look up to the man, how he did things. So, and we find that out there. And we can have an idol, but we also have to understand that that's somebody else's life. We have to find the way to get there, the things you like about somebody else into you, and find the way you like yourself, and then love yourself and move forward. It's not that simple, but it's a life opportunity to have, I guess.
No, I think it is really so I love that you brought up Robin Williams, and also that you have to really find within yourself what you love about yourself, or what maybe parts of somebody else's life that you really identify with, but how that really is more finding that kind of inside yourself also. And I would imagine, of course, I have never experienced Tourette's, but I would imagine that because I know that there are different types of Tourette's. You have tics, and then there's verbal outbursts and things of that nature. Sometimes they're combined. And I would imagine, like you were talking about, is that sometimes people don't know how to react. And maybe it feels like they might be staring versus just asking questions. And I think that's the open conversation or dialogue that I want to get to is, are you okay? And this is just a question. Are you okay if somebody came up to you and maybe they didn't fully understand, but they wanted to understand? Is it okay to ask questions as related to maybe your Tourette's or what you're experiencing?
Absolutely. That happens quite often. Matter of fact, daily, a lot of people approach you, and in the past, it was more judgmental. I think as I get older and I hear the question a little bit more deeper than that. I could give you story after story about being a location, somebody think I'm somebody else and call me over, like, hey, Glenn Fry, come here. But I get over there and they want to know what I'm on, and I have Tourette's. You want some? And then you have a conversation. And they say, hey, I know someone with Tourette's, and it's a bigger conversation. And you're right, there is a big spectrum of it. And back in the 70s, I probably was the poster child. I never used a lot of profanities. It wasn't kind of my reaction. But my fixations, my tics, I was horribly teased as a kid, mostly by adults. And actually, it's in everything I write. The kids were never bothered by my outgoing way of joy. People ask my parents, "What's wrong with your boy?" So it's kind of how you view things and what your normal is. But yeah, it's I love to share about it, especially when you meet somebody that has Tourette's or somebody else knows it, and I just give them a book. Here's what I'm going through. How can this help you get to where you need to be? So it's just one man's life, one man's journey, but it's becoming more of a stepping stone for people. One of my reviews was, giving freedom of expression and demystifying all written rules, including all the rules of poetry. Thanks, Randy Fugate, for that review. A friend of mine up in Northern California, but it's nice. And when you have that, now you get a share. Maybe I can get one person to live a little bit differently. I'm not changing the world, like I said, or changing minds. But if somebody gets another mindset tonight and they contact me or they contact themselves and find a new way, then it's all worth it at that point. It's a tough one for young folks, and it's a tough condition for parents. They don't understand it, and they think they have something wrong with their kid. No, somebody judging them might have something wrong with themselves, but the kid's fine. How are they going to get through it? What are we going to do? So,
yeah,
you can't change it. It's not going away.
That is true. Yeah, and it's not one of those that you can just make go away either. So yeah, absolutely.
No, I actually said make it go away, but you can't. It's not going anywhere.
Like it's not going anywhere.
I want to share with you really quickly.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Share what you were telling me about. Yeah.
So in high school, we're from Northern California. Robin Williams lived in Marin County, and my high school was down at the basketball tournament. We had a small town, but we had some great athletes all the time. So we're in the North Coast sections of California, and they had won the game that night. And we were in a restaurant. I looked across the way, and there he was. It was Robin Williams. So this is 1983, 84. So he just came out of Mork and Mindy, and he's hitting his career. But here's this flamboyant man. So I met him then, and he referred to me as Funny Man. And so here's what I wrote to Robin Williams about 7 years after his death. It says, it's called Funny Man. Laughter is an amazing way of releasing pain and sorrow. Robin, you bless me with today and tomorrow. To hear the laughter of each individual as the joke is told, belly chuckle to tears of joy, you have broke the mold. Freedom to express yourself with no script at all until the production is complete and the final curtain call has inspired me to let it out and be myself with pride. Look out, world, we're going on another ride. The black heart that took you way too soon has inspired me to reach for the moon. Today I get out of bed with a heart filled with joy. No more pain and suffering, Robin. Back to a joyful little boy. And that's called Funny Man with Robin.
Wow. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And that you said is in your book.
No, that one is not. It's the first time I've shared that publicly.
Oh, wow.
I've never shared it before publicly.
Thank you. That's an honor for sharing that. I love what you have written. And
he was a good influence on me.
Yeah, I refer back to him often also, unfortunately, since he died by suicide. And really you have to think about those people that they struggle behind closed doors, right? Like you think that they're constantly funny and really giving people, and that's how comedians are very, very giving people, but they don't have a lot for themselves. But that's just incredible that you have taken so much from what he did and are able to reflect that and share. So thank you so much for sharing that.
In high school and in 8th grade, I was voted class clown. So it's not too far from the tree, Kelly. And I know Kathy Borders, my friend's out there watching. Hi, Kathy. She's my partner in crime, class clown, and she just became a teacher at age 56. She started a career like I'm at 58, starting something new. So kudos to her for reaching out and trying something new with her life. That's what's inspiring to me too. So it's good to have good people like that.
Yeah, that is so amazing. And it looks like we've actually gotten quite a few comments from, I was just looking over, I shifted my site over to the comments. So there's lots of comments going on behind the scenes. So you'll have to check that out. They'll pop up on even YouTube and over on the Facebook page. So you can always go back and watch those. But I know.
So will they be on my Facebook page, Kelly? Will they be on my page as well?
It should pop up. Here's
Will I be
one.
able to see them from there?
I can even show you right here. Like, I wish there were more people like you in this world. So,
nice.
Definitely, there's lots on there.
That's
so you'll have to go and check those out. Yeah, I'll tag you in all the stuff so you can see it too. But, I really appreciate, this conversation. I think that it's actually one that I haven't had on the show as of yet. I know that, like, what I love about being able to have these conversations is it's just a conversation, right? We don't have to be judgmental when we see people who are out and about and maybe look different than what we think should be. That the word normal, I don't think anybody's normal, but it's okay to go and ask the questions. And like William said, is that he is open and transparent. And if you have any questions, like, somebody would rather you ask versus you assume. And so I would love to know more about your book too. I'm very curious.
Well, yeah, I would love to share a little bit. I actually marked a few I wanted to read. I think they're appropriate for the audience tonight. But it's amazing how it got to be where it is. I started writing. My first journal was called my first book was called Reality What a Concept, my first journal. My second journal was called Global Warfare, The Fight Amongst Ourselves. The third journal was entitled Starting Over, and they all became The Invisible Backpack. In 1992, I was started teaching, and I was in a classroom, and I couldn't understand what these kids were carrying that we couldn't see. And I coined the phrase, what's in these invisible backpacks? What are they carrying? What are we missing in education? What are we missing for these kids? And then mine started getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And so I started writing more and more. And as I discovered the power of writing for me, it was just a journal. In 2018, I had some friends come to me, and after a bad situation at work happened in the educational world, which is not a subject for today, they encouraged me to put it out there. So 21, I got a publisher. And today I'm published by Ingram Spark. Ingram is the largest distributor in the world. It's 90% of them. They published me, and I got a publicist. I went to the San Francisco Writers Conference on February 17th, 18th, and 19th. And I did a stand-up there on Tourette's, which is on my Facebook page. And it's metaphorically correct. There's language, so I won't put it on tonight. But yeah, I got discovered. I got an opportunity. And so the book is a catalyst. I had a friend, Wayne Roberts is a friend of mine. I think he's the managing partner of Edward Jones now. His daughter is my goddaughter. But he told me I could never speak to an audience if I didn't have a book or letters behind my name. And we knew we weren't going to get the letters, but I got the book. And so the book's a catalyst. It's me an opportunity to get in the door. The published author has a little bit of clout. And then 30 years of education, I get to share with kids. And so I get the chance to get in there and do that. So we'll see how it goes. But if I could share, there's a couple that in the book. This is one that's called There's a Time. And I think it's important for the audience and young people. I wrote this in 1994, but it's in my book. There's a time to laugh, and there's a time to cry. There's a time to tell the truth, and yes, a time to lie. There's a time to share. There's a time to hold back. There's a time things are said and done that you wish you could retract. There's a time to be a child. There's a time to be mature. There's a time to feel like a him and time to feel like a her. There's a time you ask why, and a time you know. There's a time to hang on and a time to let go. There's a time to express yourself and a time to be quiet. There's time to be a spectator and time to start a riot. But most of all, there's a time to be who you are. Unlike the other times, take this one quite far. There's a time. And it got to a point in my life when I needed time. I needed to go somewhere. So that's kind of a message for the folks tonight.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Definitely. Do you have more, did you say? I love this. I think it's amazing. So.
I do. Another one is right. So I wrote that, and then the same day, I wrote one called If I Could. It's the only one that does not end in rhyme. For whatever reason, I do these things. It says, if I could teach the world at once, would it be a better place? Take away all the pain that exists, and with love, I would replace. If I could teach the world at once, would I have enough to say? Show every hurting child they have another way. If I could teach the world at once and show them I have the keys to rid us all the war that exists and create some world peace. If I could teach the world at once and share my open heart, get the families back together, do away with divorcing apart. If I could teach the world at once, show a way to feed us all, there is no reason to have starvation. It is a tragic fall. If I could teach the world at once, would it be a better place?
I love it. That's awesome.
So that's one.
Yeah. So that's the only one that doesn't end with a rhyme?
That's the only one. I have a few in here that don't even rhyme, and I don't know where they came from out of me, but yeah, it doesn't. It didn't end. Everything is rhythmical. Matter of fact, you said normal. I just finished up writing my autobiography. It's called Normal, Basic, and Average. And it's an hour and a half rhyme of my life, and it's going to be I think the first motion picture ever in rhyme. It's really neat. I have a 10-minute audio trailer I share with people, and the reaction's amazing. And so it's just about finished, and it's been a lot of pain, but it's a one rhyme, and it's about 300 and some thousand words that no two words rhyme the same. And so it's coming out when I can ever get it. So it's been a project I've been working on for myself too. It's self-healing. All this is for me. I mean, no offense, but it's to get myself to me and now be able to share it is kind of exciting. I'm having a really good time. I've never done a live video interview before. This is my first one. Done a lot of radio in my life, a lot of emceeing, a lot of play-by-play sports, and all that stuff. But I've never done a live television interview before. So. Well,
I am glad that you decided to come on my show. I mean, it can be kind of scary, of course. And I started Mondays in 2021, and I did not. I had no idea what I was doing, where I was going. And I had gone on to other people's show, but then people told me that I should. And that's where it all started. I just started doing it. And from there, it's just grown and grown. And now we're shifted to an actual TV show. But yeah, for me, like it was for me when I started too. I wanted to be able to give resources back to people, but I also wanted to just learn more about others' experiences. And I don't ever claim to know everything by any means. And I learn something new every single time I have a guest on. So it's fun. It's a different experience for sure. So I'm glad that you were able to come over here because I do everything live. I just think it's easier. I don't like to do all the backside stuff. So
it's reality. It's life. You know, we don't live in recording. It's not memorized. It's live, and we have to, I may say something ridiculous. I may make a mistake, but I'm a human being. So I think it's a very good way of getting the message out that people see, that two human beings coming together for the same message is important. I do have one more I'd like to share if we have a minute here. The book is kind of written written backwards in my life. The very last entry is called Tourette's, and that's for another time. But trauma is the first entry. And I posted this the other day. I think it gets people's attention. I wrote it in 2018. I checked into the Life Healing Center in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was having some really hard times. And while I was there, I had a therapist. And the first day she asked me if I'm going to be the next Tony Robbins. I said, no, Tony's got nothing on me. So I went back and I met a young lady. She was 19 years old. I listened to her story for an hour and a half. She told her life. Mine was about a 20-minute tale. She was 19 and an hour and a half listening to the story. And they knew I wrote a little bit. So I asked the young lady if I could write to her called Trauma. She goes, sure. So I went back to my room and I wrote this in 3 minutes. This is what I wrote called Trauma. It happened at birth, a coma for me. For others, I'm not sure. The fact of the matter is, there is no cure. It comes in many avenues, from physical to the mind. There is no defining it. There's no particular kind. Some have it for a lifetime, some right away. You don't deal with it. Forever will it stay. Exposure to so many has really made me ache. Accepting my own trauma has really made me wake. The pain was deeper than I ever thought it could be. As I opened my heart to others, they can clearly see how much I was hurting over my recent tragic loss, not only losing my wife and family, but dealing with a horrible boss. What I'm realizing is I'm not alone. Coming together with complete strangers and seeing how they've grown gives me inspiration way beyond belief. And never did I imagine there could be so much relief. I thought I was alone, stuck in awful pain, thinking I was crazy, literally going insane. Listening to their stories as they share their lives with me has surely made me realize I can plainly see. The trauma is a creature that comes in many ways. I'm thankful for this experience, and I cherish all my days. As I wake each morning wondering what the day will bring, and listen to the birds outside my window sing, I can't help but think and hope that each day brings a smile to everyone that's on earth for only a little while. I pray to God each night as I lay down my head to rest that all trauma lives will turn out the best. My trauma is forever, but my heart is now stronger, for human bond and love of life will last even longer. And that's trauma.
I love that. That's awesome. And that's how the book starts, you said.
That's the beginning of the book. And the end of it's Tourette's, and everything in between is kind of how life has gone for me, why I see things, how I feel about things. And the second book's getting ready to we're deciding whether to put a second book out. And in college, they called me Twitch. So all you guys out there going by Twitch, if it wasn't 1986, I'm the original Twitch. But if I don't put the second title out, it would be Twitch 2 instead of version 2. Put the Twitch 2 out and kind of grow from Tourette's and how I got to this point in my life. So backwards to Tourette's when I was born, and then how Tourette's has got me into this position. Otherwise, it's called mental health, mental help. You decide. And the last entry is going to be Love's the Answer.
Wow, amazing. So you have your book, and I know you said that you do some speaking. What else?
I'm starting. I'm getting there.
You're getting there. Okay, awesome. No, that's good. I think it would be an amazing avenue for you to go, and definitely be able to share your story with the world. And so what?
I've been pitching. I'm right here. I got my pitch done. I'm sorry. I got the pitch done.
Nope, you're good.
So it's ready to go. I've been sending out to schools in the Phoenix area, and that's kind of why I came here. There's 409 middle and high schools, so I'm hoping to break ground here. But your question was, I'm sorry.
No, I was just asking, where do you see yourself going from here?
Where do we go from here? I'm gonna. I hope by August I'll be in school speaking here. I have a publicist. We're pitching. I have a conversation on Friday morning with a organization that pitches speakers. They met me this morning over a conversation, and their executive, whatever, wants to say hello and see what we can do. I am really interested in getting out and telling a story any way possible. I want to thank you for this first format and getting out and sharing it. I'm not about money, and I am more about the opportunity to share a story, make a living enough to share another story. The book is going to get there. I see big things for it. I see people buying it, and I see people accepting it. I've been the prices are great on it. I have some people giving me, all men, by the way, have given me my recent reviews, and I think that's really important for men to get to this point of life when we can open that heart up and let that macho piece go, and that really will change the world too. One of them was a former Harlem Globetrotter that gave me a review. One's a construction manager out of Oregon, and one's an educator out of California. And they're on the back of my information, and so I'm seeing the results by them stepping up and say, hey, if you go on the reviews on Amazon, I think there's 18, they're all 5s, and people are starting to say, let's share the story. let's do this together, because it's not about me so much. It's about a story and about an opportunity for young people or old people alike to live the rest of their life as happy as it can be. I mean, we have COVID, we have all these things that have really, in the last couple of years, put that suppression down. The bureaucratic pyramid, we push it down. I'm going to turn that pyramid and push everything up and give the world a boost. Not continue to force down a bureaucratic system. Education, all you teach out there is taught as the best invention of modern times. Is the worst system. We have a chance to change it. No more sit down, shut up, and read for kids. Let them stand up, scream, and holler, and get the education they need. So part of my goal, part of my mission is to teach teachers maybe to look at kids a little differently. Christina Deptula, she's with Authors Large and Small. She's my publicist, and it's disabled people working for disabled people. And she's been marketing me and teaching me all over Arizona lately, and I've been getting feedback. It's amazing. So I'm getting some calls. I met a young man on Juneteenth on Saturday in Scottsdale. He's the director of Arizona State University's outreach program. We're in touch. Maybe I go speak to those kids. So whatever I can do, wherever I meet, and share the story, and how can we make it better for one person a day at a time. So that's what I get to do. I see it. Somebody asked the question of the day. I said, where do you see in 5 years? I said, I'm going to be on the big screen in 5 years. We're tell a story. Again, it's not notoriety. It's not all that. It's an opportunity. I mean, in my book, I wrote EYE called How I Saw Myself in 1992, and I'm doing it. And one of those things is on the big screen live at Carnegie Hall. And Robin, one of his last performances was there. So I wouldn't mind delivering my message on Carnegie Hall in Robin Williams fashion. Keep up with me and have a good time with it. Whatever I can do. I just want to try it, do it, and see if there's a difference that we can make. And if we can make a difference in the world, I say we, because I'm bringing a lot of people along with me. I'm only one voice. So if people want to join the thing, you can get a hold of me on Facebook. You can email me. You can do whatever you need to do. And whatever I can help anybody out there, any parents, especially, that are going through it. Just remember that it's okay. It's okay to have a difference. It's okay to have depression. How are we going to get out of it? What are we going to do instead of pulling the trigger? And I'm sorry I have to say the term, but we need to stop that. Somebody asked me, I got a message today from a friend of mine in Texas, an author, and she said, I like your message. It's out there, and it's making a difference. And so if I can do that one person at a time, Kelly, and I thank you for the time, I'll continue to do it. And CISA is helping me, and I'm in a better spot.
That's amazing. And I was going to say, so if somebody wants to follow you or reach out to you, what is the best place for them to do that?
I'm on Facebook under William Hartwick. And my book's in the background there's a bunch of William Hartwicks, but Facebook. On Facebook are links, like anything. My email's there. My phone number, I think, is even there. Reach out, whatever you need to do. I'm up for it. Email, fantastic. You may not like the spelling when it comes back. It might be a little illiterate, but it'll be the message will be there. Actually, when I was a principal, I'll reach out to a few of them. They wouldn't let me hit send on email. It wasn't spelled very well, so they don't hit send. Let us edit that first. So,
I would
whatever I can do to reach out, and I'm available.
Yeah. Awesome. So Facebook, and then I always say it's not about perfection. It's about getting the information out there. And that's what I truly believe. So, William, this was such an amazing conversation. I really, really thank you for being my guest this evening. And if anybody wants to find William, again, you can find him on Facebook. But thank you so much for bringing all your knowledge, all your experience, and sharing that and all of those things that you have written. That was just incredible to be able to share that here, especially for the first time. So thank you so much again.
Well, Kelly, thank you for the opportunity and your format. I read a little bit about your background, and I understand what you're doing, and you're doing the right thing, and if I can come back or whatever I can do to support your organization as well, reach out to me as well. And it's a team, it's a partnership. I feel that you and I could have another conversation again, and it'll be completely different, but someone's going to get something out of it. We're going to make a difference in a young adult's life, or a young child's life, or a parent, or a colleague of mine, whoever can benefit from it, or a colleague of yours. So let's just keep it going. I think that's the best part.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, William. All right, y'all. That was another amazing episode of Make Mental Health Matter. I'm telling you, every single week, my guests just get better and better and better and better. And this was just a really incredible conversation that William and I had. I do this show every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. As you noticed, we haven't had a ton of comments really come through as we're doing the show, but all of this is live. So you can interact with myself and my guests during the live show if you have questions that pop up, or if you happen to be watching, whether it's on Monday, which I do at 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, or on Wednesdays, which is 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's what I said I was going to say last week. So either way, if this is your first time watching, again, make sure you mash down that subscribe button if you happen to be watching it on YouTube or on the Facebook page. Make sure you follow us. Or if you're watching it on any of the TV streaming platforms, add it into your watch list or your favorites or whatever they happen to call it, because I promise you, you will not want to miss any of the guests that I have coming up. And I want to throw this out. If you know somebody that is or would be an amazing guest for me, please send them my way. We actually have openings now, which we were booked months. We were booked like 7-8 months in advance. And now it's come to the point, because I shut it off, I need more guests. So go to bccevolution.org and send us a message and or just email to support@bccevolution.org. I monitor that email, so you will get directly to me, but I need guests for Wednesdays, which is Warrior Wednesdays, sharing their story, sharing their journey, or on Mondays, which is Mental Health Mondays, bringing professionals and advocates of mental health, whether it is in the mental health, the substance use, whatever you happen to be. If you're in that wellness space, we like to showcase your business. Either way, join back, whether it's this next Monday or on another Wednesday. Bye, y'all.